analytics class. We're welcoming you all once again, and it's going to be totally practical today. So please remember to fill up the attendance in the chat box. The link will be posted by my colleague, so please fill it out, as attendance is actually a very, very important part of this class. So without wasting too much time, I'm sure our seasoned trainer is ready to take us in the practicals today. And I hope we all have our systems ready, we all have our mind ready, and everything ready for today's data analytics and modeling second session. So without taking too much time, I'll be leaving the room for Adewumi Edun to take over the class. Adewumi, are you there?
Yes, Emmanuel, good morning. Hello, can you hear me?
All right,
I
can
would
you hear me,
like
Adewumi?
for, yes, I can hear you, Emmanuel. Can you
Okay.
hear me? All right.
Yes, I can hear you now, please. Take
All
over.
right. Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to this very wonderful session. My name is Adewumi Edun, and I'll be taking us through an introduction to Excel for data analytics. So before we go right into what we have, I'd like us to have a very brief introduction, a very, very brief round of introduction. I would like us to come up with our names and what we do. If you're a student, I would like you to come up with your name and what you do or what courses it is you're studying at the moment. And if you work as a proper, probably 9 to 5 person or something, I would like you to come up with your names and what you do as well. Thank you. So I think we'll go ahead with Michael Adebayo. I can see Michael Adebayo here. Michael, can you unmute your mic and walk us through a very brief introduction of yourself? Is Michael on the call with us? All right, I can see that we have Beatrice. Beatrice, do we have you on the call with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning, Beatrice.
Good morning. My name is Beatrice Boro. I'm an insurance adjuster.
All right, thank you so much. But I missed you for like a couple seconds there. You said what you're what?
Insurance adjuster?
All right, that's great. Thank you, Beatrice. Olusegun Michael, do we have you here with us? Olusegun Michael, are you here with us? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here with you.
All right, kindly give us a brief introduction.
I'm the school administrator. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
I said I'm Olusegun Michael, school administrator.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael, for that. What other person do we have on this call? I think we have Millicent. Millicent, are you here on the call with me?
Yes, good morning. My name is
Good
Millicent,
morning.
and I'm a nurse.
All right, that's interesting. Thank you for that, Millicent. So not to waste too much of our time, I'd like us to just go right into what we have planned for the day. So as it was said earlier, we're going to be taking a look at more of practicals. It's going to be a very practical session, right? So we'll be bridging the theoretical parts that we had the previous class with more of practicals. And as I said, I'll be walking us through an introduction to Excel for data analytics. How many of us here are new to Excel? Let me start with that. Do we have anybody here that is new to Excel? Okay, so we don't have anybody here that is new to Excel. So I believe we've all used Excel one way or the other. All right, so let me go ahead to share my screen. Let me share my screen. So let's kindly confirm we can see my screen now.
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right, thank you. Before I dive right into it, how many of us were present for our previous class? I just want us to have like a revision or a summary of what we learned the previous class. How many of us were present for our previous classes? I'd just like us to raise our hands. Just raise your hands, it's fine. If you were present for the previous class that was held, kindly raise your hands. Okay, we do not have anybody here that was present for the previous class. All right, that's fine too. So I'm just going to go back to this. So yeah, I welcome you all to this session. We're going to be taking a look at Excel for data analytics. And like he said earlier, I hope we all have our laptops ready. I hope we all have our devices ready because it's going to be a practical session. So it's going to be a session covering data cleaning, lookup formulas. We're going to be taking a look at pivot tables and also data visualization in Excel, right? So firstly, we're going to be taking a look at foundations of Excel. Here, we'll be taking a look at the interface, the navigation, and data entry essentials. So let me preface this by saying that if at some point you need me to take it back a couple steps, kindly let me know. Just call my attention to it because I would want us to be on the same page from the beginning of the class, the beginning of the session to the end of the session, right? So if you need me to take it back a couple steps, kindly call my attention to it. So thank you. So for module 1 here, we'll be taking a look at the Excel interface and the ribbon. I'm so sorry. Let me put this in a proper format. Okay. So here we are going to be understanding the Excel workspace. We need to know that understanding the Excel workspace is the first step to working efficiently with data. That is your first step to working efficiently with data. If you ever want to go into data analytics properly, your first specialist software that you probably make use of would be Excel because you need to understand Excel to work efficiently with data. Excel can handle a very large data set, right? Excel has all of the functionalities that you need to efficiently clean or transform data, right? So here we have the ribbon. I want us to understand the workspace in itself. We have the ribbon. I'm going to take this back because I need to be going back to our Excel sheet. So firstly, I want us to all open a blank sheet on Excel. So like I said, I would want us to go through this step from start to finish together. So I want us to open a blank sheet in Excel. If you've been able to open a blank sheet in Excel on your laptops, you can drop it in the chat, probably like done. You can type in done, or you can just raise your hand if you've been able to do that. I just need us to open a blank sheet on our Excel. Just click on Excel and open a blank sheet. If you've done that, kindly type in done in the comment in the chat room, or you raise your hand. Any of that would work. To give us about a minute or two to do that. I need us to open a blank sheet on Excel. Have we done that? I'd like a response, please. I would really love for this to be an interactive session. If you've been able to do that, kindly type in done, or you can just raise your hands. I'm actually waiting on our responses.
All right, please everyone be sure to know that
Okay.
you can unmute your mic, and please let's try to be interactive. This session is going to be purely practical. This is just an opening. So please let's try to engage our trainer and follow through to this class. Okay, I think you have
All
a
right.
chat in the chat box, Adewumi.
Yes. Okay, I can see that. Thank you, Emmanuel. Do we have any other person? All right. Thank you, Beatrice. Any other person? All right. So thank you. So I think we have 3 people now. And we have about 12 on this call. So I'd like us to get at least half of the participants to do that. Because like I said, I want us to do this whole thing together from the beginning of it to the end of the session. So kindly open your Excel, open a blank sheet on your Excel. All right, so if I'm not getting any more responses, I think I'll just go ahead with what I have. So when you open a blank cell, so what exactly can we see on our screens now?
Oh,
Is it
sorry,
my Excel sheet or yes?
we can see your slide, not the Excel sheet.
All right, that's fine. Let me try to like share again.
All right, thank you.
I probably need to share my entire screen
I
now.
was seeing from my hand, though. Maybe it's network from your hand.
Oh, really? Were you seeing my sheet on your end?
Yeah.
Okay, now we can see your whole screen. You can
Okay,
share.
now you get my whole screen. So yeah, when you open a blank sheet in Excel, this is what you get. You have cells, nothing, it's just blank, right? I already created a very, very little, we'll be working with a larger data set, let me put it that way. But I have to come up with something very little so I can use this to walk us through the introduction part of it, right? The introductory part of it. So here we have this name, department, sales date. I just came up with this very randomly. And I would also want us to type this in on our blank sheet, right? Let me say in about 2-3 minutes, I'd like us to just type this in. Would have name, department, sales, and date as our headings. Then underneath this would have, we can just put in random names, random department, sales, and dates. I'd like us to do that now. In about 2-3 minutes, we should be able to type this on our sheet. Please, if you've been able to type this, kindly type in done so I can move from there. You can type it done on the chat room, or you can just unmute your mic and let me know that you've done this. I'd like us to just type this very, very small, this short data set so we can work with this. And like I said, we'll be working with a larger data set as we move on. This is just for the introductory part of things. So if you've been able to do that, kindly type in done or you unmute and let me know you've done it. So let me take it back here. I believe you can all see this.
I'm not seeing your screen again.
You're not seeing my screen again?
Yeah, I think if you're not seeing the screen, you need to maybe end the call and join because even your network seems to be lagging. Emmanuel Olga.
All right, so kindly let's type this in so we can work with this.
Sharing now.
Okay, now you can see it here.
Sorry, Adewumi, is there any way you can
Yes.
share that file in the chat box?
Okay, so because I really want us to like work on data entry too, that's why I gave this
Oh,
for
okay,
them to be able to like type it. Yeah, so I want to work on data entry too. For the larger data sets that I was talking about, I would share that. Right. So I just want to use this as an opportunity to work on data entry. I'd like to know if we have this typed in already. If you do, kindly type in done in the chat room.
I'm done.
You're done. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't get that. Who was that? That was Emmanuel.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. Thank you, Emmanuel. So I'm waiting on the others. I'd like you to type this. Let me know when you're done so we can move from there. So I'll give it about 2 more minutes so we can go ahead. So do we have any other person? Okay, yes. Beatrice is also done. That's great. We have just about 2-3 people that are actively in this class. I would love for us to all participate because trust me, it's going to be a wonderful session. So in about a minute, I'm going to all right, so yeah, let's go ahead. I want to believe we already have this typed in our sheets, and I'm going to go back to my presentation now. So for the first module, we are going to be looking at the Excel interface and the ribbon, right? Like I said, understanding the Excel workspace is the first step to working efficiently with data. So when we talk about the ribbon, what do we have? We have the tabs. When we come here, these are the tabs, right? We have the home, we have the insert, the drawer, we have the page layout. And when you click on all of these tabs, right, they all have groups. So we can see here the clipboard, the fonts, the alignment, the numbers, the styles. Excel gives you everything you need for a proper data formatting, right? So if we go back to this, we can see that you can right click on any tab to customize it. If you didn't know that, now you know this. You can always right click on any tab to customize it. If I right click on this, I can say customize the ribbon here. If I click on customize the ribbon, it's going to give me this, right? So when you look at this, you can always add and remove from anywhere. Let's say okay, before I go on, let me say this again. If you feel you need me to take a couple steps back, kindly let me know. So for our home, right? Let's say for our home, I want to add, so I want to add save, right? That means anytime I click on home, I also want to see that save by the corner. The way I can see this clipboard, copy, paste, cuts, the way I can see my auto sum, the way I can see my fill clear and all of that. I also want to see save, right? I don't want to go to file, then now click save from file. So I also want to add save to this. So I need to create a group that save is going to fall under, right? If I say I want to add save automatically, it won't go through. So let's run it practical. So if I say save and add, We can see you gave me an error. Commands need to be added to custom groups. To create a group, you have to pick a tab, then click new group. This clipboard is a group, right? It's a group that contains paste, cut, copy, format, painter, right? So we can see all of this. This clipboard is a group. This font is a group that contains the font type, the font size, the bold, the italics, the underlining. We have this editing is a group that contains auto sum, fill, clear. So for us to be able to put save in our home tab, we need to put it in a group. So what do? We can just right click on anything here and add a new group. So when we add our new group is going to be, let's rename it. Let's name it save. It does not necessarily have to be the same name as the command you're trying to put in, but for the sake of this class, I'm just going to name it save, right? So when I put in save, then I'm going to put in, now I can now add my save to this save group. Can we see it? So now you can add this. Then all I need to do is just click OK. When I click OK and I come back here, I can see that our save is already here. All right, so that's how you customize your ribbon. You can go back to it. You can just play around with it. You can go back to it. You can remove some things you don't want on your home tab. You can go to your insert. You can remove some things you don't want. You can make the new commands that you're imputing. You can make them. You can put this new command. You can put it after alignment. You can put it after styles. You can put it before number. Like, you can just do anything. And I would really love us to go and play around with all of these things. It's very great. So are we still with me? I would like a response, as I cannot keep going back to the Chrome.
Yes, ma, we are still with you.
All right, thank you. So yes, so let me go back to this. We already talked about the ribbon. Now let's talk about the name box, right? So the name box shows your active cell address. If I come here and I click mini mo, and I just click here, right? I can see that this is the name box and this is J11. Why is this J11? Because this cell, the cell address is taken from the column letter and the row number. Our row is the horizontal, our column is the vertical, right? So these are our column letters, A, B, C to about 16,000 or something, if I'm correct. So this our 11 is the row number. So if I click here, it's going to be the column letter and the row number. So that's why we have J11 here. I can also come to this name box and say, okay, I want you to take me to B29. When I put in B29 and I enter, it takes me straight to B29. So when you have a large set of data that you're working with, you cannot keep scrolling. All you need to do is just come to the name box here. I want to go to B51,011. Just put it, and it takes you directly to that cell. All right, so I believe that is clear. So here we have the formula bar, which displays and lets you edit the content of the selected cell. Here is our formula bar. This is our formula bar. If my cell let me say my B29, I want my B29 to take in the value 5,000, right? You can see as I'm typing in the formula bar, it is also occurring here. So when I want it to give me 5,000, once I put in 5,000, I enter, automatically it's giving me 5,000 at B29. Right, so that is the function of a formula bar. You can edit, you can create anything, you can do all of these things on the formula bar. So here we have the status bar, which at the bottom shows your quick starts like the sum, average, and count. And that is where this is now going to come in, right? So this, I hope you can see my cursor. This, at the bottom of this is the bottom literally. So this place is going to show us a quick start. So let me highlight this place. You can see that when I did highlight these places, I could see average of 5,000, count of 6, and the sum is 30,000, right? So you could even count it manually because this is very short and it's very small. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The count is 6, the average is 5,000, and the sum is 30,000. At the bottom, you would always see all these quick stats. So you don't really have to now go and start doing equal sum of this one, equal sum of this one, and this one, right? You see, it's still giving me 30,000, but I did not really have to do all of that when I could just come here, drag it down, and have my sum here as 30,000 naira, and I can 30,000, rather, it was not an error, and I can do anything that I want to do with that information, right? So that's like a very quick start that you can make use of. So let's go back to this. So yeah, we are moving to our next sheet on our module 1. So here we can see that Excel organizes data in a hierarchy, right? Workbook contains sheets, sheet contains cells. This, you can see book 2. This is a workbook. This file is a workbook, right? This is a worksheet, sheet 1. I can have another worksheet 2. I can have worksheet 3. I can have worksheet 4. I can have as many sheets as I want. This whole thing in itself is a workbook, right? So yeah, we have cell addresses. I already walked us through the cell addresses. Our worksheet is a grid of 1,045,76. It's not really a thing that we need to put in our heads, but I just added it in there. So you can always add, you can always rename a worksheet, right? Let's try to rename this. Let's say sheet 1. I don't want it to be sheet 1. No, I want it to be data. Right? You can always rename your sheets. You can do anything. So Excel is broad. You can always explore with different functions. And all right, so yeah, we have the relative reference. Let me take it back to this. Right. So if we have, let's say I want to calculate for the sum of 5,000, 7,000, and 2,000, right? We can see here that it automatically is giving us 14,000 here. But let's say I want to do it the usual manual way, and I have equal to sum. We are still going to go through all of these formulas and everything. So I'm just taking it bit by bit so we can understand. So let me say sum. I have sum. I'm taking it from year 5,000 to 2,000, right? You see, automatically I have 14,000 here. Why? Because I took the sum from 5,000 to 2,000. Yes. But if I now drag this thing down, I can see that it's giving me totally different values. Why is it giving me totally different values? Because the more I move it down, the more the range changes. So we can see that this one was from C2 to C4, right? But if you come down, we can see that this one was from C3 to C5. So the more I drop it, it drops down by 1. If I check this one, so I can see it's from C4 to C6. But I don't want all of these changes that are happening. This is what a relative reference is talking about. It adjusts automatically when a formula is copied into another cell. So as I'm dragging it, it is adjusting, it is dropping by 1. But I don't want it to drop by 1. I want it to remain as I left it. I want it to still give me this 14,000, even if I drag it down 15 billion times. So what do I do? I come here to this 14,000 and I click on this, my range, and I press F4, right? So I can see that immediately I pressed, before I go further, I hope we are also like trying these things as I am doing them.
Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
Yes.
Please,
Yes.
before you proceed, there is actually one thing I want to clarify. So I
All
joined
right.
late. I
Okay.
want to find out what is the difference between this worksheet and workbook. You open
Oh,
one that has cell and maybe column rows and the like. Then the other one you open it look just plain. So what's the difference? And they are the same as Excel workbook. You say one is
yes.
workbook, one is worksheet. Please, I want clarification about the two.
All right,
Sorry.
that's fine. So this is a workbook, right? When you go on your laptops, when you go on your computer and you click on Excel and you open, let me cancel this. I'm going back to this. So when you click on your Excel and you open an Excel file, you have a workbook. As you can see here, this is book 2, right? I just opened an Excel file and it gave me this. This is a workbook, right? But what I am working on is a sheet. That's why I said you could have a million sheets on one workbook. This is sheet 1. This is sheet 2. I had to rename this sheet to data, but this is sheet 2. This was sheet 2 earlier. This is sheet 3. This is sheet 4. I can keep opening several worksheets. I can keep opening several worksheets. Why is this not doing now? Let me take it back. Okay, because of this formula that I was working on before. Let me take it back and try to open a proper Excel file. So see, this is Excel. When I click on this, it's giving me a workbook. Like immediately I clicked on Excel, this was what it gave me, a workbook. Are you with me, sir? Hello, who asked the question? I have no idea.
I'm with you.
Okay, all right. So when I opened Excel, this was the first thing that I got, right? Jesus Christ. This was the first thing that I got, which was a workbook. This is a workbook. If I want to save this, I'm going to save it as an Excel file or anything. This is a workbook. But then, whatever I want to do, let's say I want to type name, age, department, everything I want to do, all the sum equals A2 plus A3, all the formulas, all the functions that you'll be doing, every work that you'll be doing, the data form generalization, the data formatting, everything you'll be doing is going to be on a worksheet. This is a sheet. A sheet contains cells. This is a sheet. I can click anywhere on this sheet, which is a cell, and decide to write on it, right? So the whole thing is a workbook. A workbook contains worksheets. So I can now decide to open another worksheet. Like I said, you could have a lot of worksheets. I can decide to open sheet 1, open sheet 2. When I'm done with sheet 2, I'll open sheet 3. When I'm done with sheet 3, I'll open sheet 4. All of these sheets, you can see that all of these sheets, I'm opening them still under this same Excel workbook. Do we understand?
We are following, ma. We are with you. Understand?
Okay, yeah, but like the person that asked the question, I don't know if it's clear now. Hopefully you are clear because I can't hear anything from you anymore. So, all right. So let me take it back to this. So what was I trying to do here? So I was trying to show us what relative reference means. And I really hope, like I said earlier, I hope we are coming along with me as I'm taking all of these practicals. So like I said, if I want to do the sum of, let's say I want to do the sum of 5,000 to 2,000, right? Don't stress me. So let's say I want to do sum of 5,000 all the way to 2,000. So yeah, when I click it, I can see 14,000. And I said earlier that if I drag it, I'm going to have a totally different figure. Why? Because as I'm moving it down, it moves down by a row too. That is what is called relative reference, right? It adjusts automatically. That's what's called relative reference. But now I don't want it to adjust automatically. I want it to give me the same thing I had in like the previous 2 rows, right? So I still want it to, even if I drag it to row 121, I still want it to keep giving me 14,000. I want my values to be fixed. What I would do is I'll come here, I'll click on my range, I'll just click on F4. All I need to do is click on F4. When I click on F4, I'm going to see a sign like this, right? I'll come back to this, my C4 too. I'll click on F4. I'm also going to see a sign like this. So when I click enter, it's automatically a fixed value. So even if I drag it from here to Jalingo, it's still going to give me 14,000 because now I've made it a fixed value, right? And that is what is called absolute reference. Absolute reference stays fixed when copied. So all you need to do is press F4 to toggle the $sign. So is that clear? Are we clear on that? Are we clear on that? Do we need me to take it to take a couple steps back? I would like a response, please, so I can know you can hear me.
Yes, we are clear on that.
We are clear. All right, that's beautiful. So let's go right ahead into what else we have. So yeah, this is our 3D reference. That means you can reference to the same cell across multiple sheets, right? So I can say, I don't want to calculate my sum in this sheet. Though. I want to calculate my sum in the next. Yes?
Hello.
Yes,
Please,
sir.
I discovered there's in your slide, this page you, at least you are explaining from, is there an Excel worksheet also?
No. This is a PowerPoint. Share this place, this particular page I'm on.
Yeah, that's what is bringing the confusion. I thought there's an Excel sheet that open like that.
No. This is a PowerPoint. This is a PowerPoint
Right.
representation.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Okay, so I wanted to talk about 3D reference. That means I can say, okay, I don't want to calculate my sum on this sheet. I want to go and calculate my sum in sheet 2. Then I'll come here and I'll say the same sum function, right? Then I'll come back to this sheet and I will now pick my sum from here to here. Right? We can see that it gave me the same value of 14,000. You can always reference the next sheet, or you can always reference another sheet when you want to make your calculations. I can decide to open sheet 3 and say, okay, it's inside sheet 3 that I want to calculate my sum, right? You could open any sheet and calculate. You can make your functions and attach them to a previous cell or a previous column in the previous sheet. I hope that was clear. So that's called 3D reference. All right, so let's take it down a bit. Now, I want to give us like a cheat code in some form, right? So we know that Excel behaves differently depending on what type of data is in a cell. Just knowing this alone would already solve maybe not a lot, let's say like 20% of your problem, right? Because when I give you a data set and you look at it and you see that what we have in column B is right aligned. Everything we have in column B is right aligned. Automatically, you can tell, okay, I think all of these figures were put into this cell as numbers. When you look at the data type and you can see that all of them are right aligned, you can automatically conclude that they are numbers. They are stored as numbers. They are stored as values. When you now look at the data type and be like, oh, all of these are left aligned, they are automatically stored as text, right? So if I come back to what I have here, we can see that this is left aligned, right? This is also left aligned. This is right aligned automatically, which means these are numbers. So if I bring this together now, sorry, cancel. So if I bring this together, I can see the sum as 30. If I bring this together, I can't see any sum because this was imputed as text. These are numbers, so I can make the calculations on this. I can make the calculations on text, right? So let me take it back. I think that is quite explanatory. And we also have dates. So dates is kind of an interesting format, right? Because here I have dates. If I come here and I say, when I even highlight this, automatically when it comes down to numbers, I can see dates here. If I now say, for my dates, I want it to be a long date. When I click on long dates, I can see that it has changed. Now I have the day of the week, the date itself, and the year, right? So I have Monday, January 1st, 2024. I have Tuesday, 2nd, 2024. I can also decide that, I want it back as short. It comes back like this. I can still decide, I want more number formats, right? I go to my more number formats and I can say, okay, I only want the month and the year, or I only want the month and the day. Okay, let me say I want it to be like this. If I click on this, it comes like this. It's just the month and the date, the month and the date. That's all we have. So you can, like I've been saying, you can always play around with this thing. When it comes down to data transformation, you can always do and undo, right, Lisha? But yeah, you can always come back to your number format and say, oh, I don't even like this one again. It's too ugly. I want to use this, right? Then you click on this. You can see I have 1st January, 2nd January, 3rd January, 4th January. Anything. You can do anything. You can format your dates as you want. And that applies to every other thing too. So we'll be taking a look at a larger data set. So yeah. So these are Booleans and use comparison formulas. So let me give an example here. Let me say for what should I use? Okay, let me say this 8,000. So I put equal to, what's our 8,000? 8,000 is C6 greater than, if it's greater than 5,000, it gives me true. Boolean is very easy. All you need to do is, every of your functions starts with an equal to sign. So if I put equal to C5 greater than something, if it's correct, it gives true. If it's wrong, it gives false. Let's try the false. So if I say this one, C6 is, let me say C6 is lesser than 5,000. This is a lie, so it gives me false. So it's very easy. So by the time you are working with a larger data set and you want to have like a Boolean of true, false, true, false, true, false, you don't have to start inputting it manually. You can just put in your functions, right, and make them a fixed value, because then it's going to be changing as you're moving, like I already showed earlier. So you make it a fixed value, then you draw it, and automatically you would have true, false, true, false, true, false for anything. So these Booleans are very, very easy to use. So here we have errors. You can have any error, and all of these errors point to a specific problem to fix. So now these are keyboard shortcuts, right? I believe we are all excited for keyboard shortcuts, anything to make the work easier. So here we can see Ctrl+Shift+L to toggle filters on and off for a data table. Let's leave the English and go into the practicals. So firstly, we can see Ctrl+T to convert a range to a structured Excel table. So let's come here. This is just very normal. Now I want to make it a table. All I need to do is Ctrl+T. When I click on Ctrl+T, it brings this, right? Where's the data for your table? It's already highlighting all the data that it can find here. And I can click on my table has headers. I can unclick. So I'm like, my table has headers. Yes, it has headers. I have the name, the department, the sales, and date, right? But if you are working with a table that does not have headers, which is not really likely, you can take it off. But then I'll have my table has headers and I click OK. You see, when I click OK, automatically it gives me a table, right? I hope we are following with these practicals. Like I said, if you need me to take it a step back, just let me know. I want us to do this together from start to finish, right? So yeah, we can see that. Automatically already.
Just explain that Boolean, maybe just 30 seconds. I did not get how you get the true or false. Try it
Oh,
on my end,
okay.
please.
All right, that's fine. So yeah, for the Boolean, you can just click on an empty cell, right? And put in your equal to. Like I said, if you want to impute any function, you're starting with an equal sign, right? An equal to sign. You have this. If I want to do sum, it's going to be equal to sum. If I want to do count, it's going to be equal to count. If I want to do anything, it's going to be equal to that particular thing. So yeah, I want to look at if, let me say, I want to look at if Mary from HR, the ends 2,000 naira. I want to look at if 2,000 is greater than 5,000, which is a lie, which is wrong, right? But if I now put equal to, I click on this, which is C4, which is the value that I'm making use of, right? Then I put my greater than sign. If I put C4 is greater than 1000 and I click enter, it's going to give me true. Because yes, truly 2000 is greater than 1000, right? But if I click equal to 2000 is less than 1000, it should give me a false because it's a lie. You can see. So when I click C4 less than 1000, it gave me 4. So have you been able to get it, or is it still showing an error on your end?
Okay, I've gotten it now, man. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. So now let's go back to our table, right? So let's have our table. So like I said, all you need to do, you don't even need to highlight. All you need to do is just click somewhere and use your Control T. Oh my days. Sorry, give me a minute. So what's going on? Okay, yeah. So let me cancel this. Some technical issues just happened. So if I say I click on this and I click on Control T, right? Automatically it's going to cover every data that I have here. And it's going to ask me where's the data for my table. So if I need to make arrangements to the data that I want to make as a table, I can make arrangements. I can make adjustments to it. But if I'm using this old data that I have here as a table, then I can just leave it and also click on my table as headers, as I had explained earlier, then OK. Once you click OK, automatically you have a table like this. So you can now come and now change your table style. I want it to be orange. I like this black and white. I like this yellow. I could take it down. I could put it back here. I could take it here. I could take it here. Now you can now play around with it. Any designs, any styles, everything that you want. You can now start with all of that when you check in your table styles, right? So now we've been able to do our table. Now all of these little drop down arrows, when I click on them, you can see that it's going to give you several options. You can either search from A to Z. If I search from A to Z, you can see it has changed, right? So now I have Debs, John, Mary. After sorting from A to Z, if I say sort from Z to A, it changes again, right? Mary, John, Debs. If I say sort by color, you can custom sort, you can use your text filters. If something begins with, let's say, begins with M, begins with M, and I don't have to do it, begins with M. You see, only the letters, only the names that started with M are what we have left here. So you can always play around with these things. You can always play around with them. So let me just clear the filter from name and have like we had it before. So let me sort now from A to Z, right? So we have Debs, John. So now you can see select all. I can try to not select all and now select just, let me unselect this and now select just maybe Debs. So if I click on OK, it's only going to show me the information of Debs departments, Debs sales, and the date. If I come back and I say, okay, I don't want to see Debs again, I want to see John, right? And I click on John, it's going to give me the information on John. So this is a filter. This drop down arrow is something you can use to filter all of these things. You don't have to do too much. You just have to click on it and organize it however you want to organize it. So let's go back to select all because we'll be using all of them. So now let me talk about this Control Shift L, right? If I come in here and I do Control Shift L, what did we notice? What can we notice now when I did Control Shift L? Hello?
Please, ma, can you press it again? Maybe undo. I wasn't looking at that direction. Sorry.
Okay, so now if I do Control Shift L, What can we notice? Sorry, Control Shift L. What can we notice?
I'm here to notice anything.
Being aligned left to the left side.
Aligned to the left side? Nope. Nope. And I was already thinking I'll buy a car for somebody here.
The
That's so sad.
date? Is it the
Not
date
the
has changed? No?
Not the dates. Not the dates.
Like it's selected from top to bottom, side to side, selected all.
It selected all. No, it did not select all.
Okay, I would say filters.
Yes. So who said that? Who said that? Let me know who I'm giving my car.
My name is Enoma.
Hi, Enoma. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what was it that you said again?
I said it removed the filters.
Exactly. So when you, let me take it back, right? So if you come here, let's take a look at this very well. Let me put it to Control Z. We can see that we have our drop downs back. The filters that we're able to apply, where we're able to sort A to Z, where we're able to sort Z to A, where we're able to have our text filters. We had this before. But when I now do Control Shift L, it takes everything away. So now I can no longer filter, I can no longer do anything on all of this. Do we understand? So it toggles it. If I do Control Shift L again, it brings it back. So it toggles it on and off. So that's the reason we have our Control Shift L. So if I want to create a data and I don't want to, a data set, I don't want it to be messy. I don't want anybody to have like access to start filtering, to start sorting after I'm done with everything. All I need to do is just Control Shift L. That's all. And it takes off the filter from this, right? It takes off the filter from the table directly. And if I want it back, Control Shift L. If I want it back, Control Shift L is all I need to do, and it brings it back again. All right. So are we clear on that? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. So let's go back to what we have. So yeah, we also have Control D and Control R. Do you know that if I come here and I click on just any random cell and I click on Control D, let me take it back. I click on Control D. What did we notice here? We must notice something. What did we notice that just happened? Let me take it back. Control Z, Control D. What did we notice that just happened?
It duplicated the value for John.
Duplicate.
Exactly. So it duplicated the value for John, which was the value that we had up, right? The 7,000 that we had up was what got duplicated down, right? So if I do, let's say I've taken it back now. Let's say I now do Control R. What did I notice? What can we notice? Why am I asking myself? What can we notice that just happened?
It duplicated the data from the left side.
Exactly. So it duplicated data from the left side. So if I want to duplicate data from the left, I don't need to go and start typing manually that, oh, I want sales here, or start doing copy and paste. All you need to do is just click Control R. Once you click Control R, it will duplicate what you have in the left cell. It's going to duplicate it automatically to the cell that you are currently using, right? But if I use D, it's going to duplicate from the top. So let me take it back. I hope we were able to get that. So you can try that with another one. Let's say for this 2,000, I do Control D. I can see that it has duplicated 8,000 naira that we have up. If I take it back and I do Control R, I can see that it has duplicated what we have on our left side. So all of these things, I would see if I can share these materials so we can go through the shortcuts, and it would make things easier, honestly. So once you have that, there's no other problem. So now we can have our alt plus equal to auto sum. So let me take it back here. So instead of me doing equal to some open bracket. No, let me just do alt plus. So once I do alt plus equal to, you can see this AutoSum, what will I call it, icon. But you can see this sign here that signifies AutoSum. Automatically, if you click on alt plus equal to, you are going to automatically have 30,000, right? That's how the AutoSum works. So I don't need to start doing equal to sum, open brackets. This shortcuts, this keyboard shortcuts, they save time, they save you the stress, of typing manually or having like errors or anything. Very, very easy and very, very simple, right? So let's take it down to, let's take a look at what else we have. So we have F2, which is to enter edit mode. So if I want to edit what I have here, let's say I want to edit what I have in sales, I can either come here to type. I can say I don't want sales, I want audit. I don't want sales, I want audit. I don't want sales, I want audit, right? I can either do that, or I can just come here and click F2. Once I click F2, I can just type, I don't want audit again, I want sales, right? So you can click F2 and you can also come here to make your corrections. So you can even double click on here to make your corrections to a cell. So far, I hope we have been following and we've been able to get one or two things.
Yes, ma'am, we are following.
Yes, we
All
are.
right. So here is just to test our understanding on the foundations that we've covered. Who can tell me the difference between a relative reference and an absolute reference? Anybody? Who can tell me the difference between a relative reference and an absolute reference? The answer is in there already. But let me give it to you. Who can tell me the difference between a relative reference and an absolute reference?
Okay, I will say I'm Chijoke from Abia, Chijoke Anya from Abia. I will say a relative
Hello, Chijoke.
reference. Yeah. A relative reference make reference to yourself, while an absolute goes with the dollar sign. In the case of relative reference, it can move. Maybe when you are trying to drag it, it will move and make reference to another cell for those that want to do shortcuts. Yeah, but for absolute, it is fixed.
All right, thank you. That was beautiful. Do we have any other answers? Do we have any other volunteers that want to answer our questions? I need answers. I need you. I know we have really smart people on here. I need you to let me know what the difference between relative reference and absolute reference is in your words, totally in your words. I'll bet you understand it.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, relative reference changes when you copy a formula to another cell.
Okay.
For example, if a formula in, for example, C1 is equal to A1 plus B1, and you copy it down to C2, it becomes A2 plus B2. While absolute reference stays fixed, no matter where you copy the formula.
Oh, that was very beautiful. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Steven. Thank you for that. Do we have any other questions? Let's just move to the next questions, not to waste much of our time. So if a number is left aligned in a cell, what does this indicate? If it is left aligned in a cell, what does it indicate?
Left aligned means is letters. Means
Exactly.
the letter.
Exactly. So if you have left aligned, it means it was imputed as a text. So let's say, Okay, so now what keyboard shortcut converts a plain range into a structured Excel table? We just did that. What keyboard shortcut did I use to convert a plain range into a table?
Control T.
Control T, thank you. So, where on the Excel interface, right, would you see a quick sum and average of selected cell without even having to write the formula at all? Where on the interface would you see that quick sum, average, or count?
Status.
This. All right, so we're going to have it down in our status bar where you have the sum, the average, without having to calculate, without having to write without having to write the formula at all. So when it comes down to cell reference, what's the function of F4? What's the function of F4 when it comes down to cell reference?
The content of the cell.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
It enables you to change the content of the cell.
No, that's not it. That's not it. F4, when it comes out to cell referencing, what does it do?
Yeah. F4 converts a cell into absolute reference.
Thank you. So F4 converts from a relative to an absolute reference, right? So like I said, when you come here, F4, if I want to do a sum of this, and I come here, and I have 16.5, and I drag it down, different values, but I want it to give me the same values. All I need to do is come here, click here, F4. You see, it has changed it to an absolute. Come here, F4, I get an absolute value. So that is okay. So if I keep dragging it to anywhere I want to drag it to, it will still give me the same figures. So I think that is that for Module 1. I hope you've been able to learn a couple of things. So now we'll be going into data preparation and cleaning. So now we'll be transforming messy data into analysis ready data sets. So what I want to do now is, Emmanuel, can I go ahead to share a document?
Oh, yes, please.
All right. So yeah, let me come back here. Where did I store this? Okay. So I want us to, okay, that's already sent. I want us to download that sheet. That is the data set we'll be working with today for most of our data cleaning session. We're going to be working with that. So while we are downloading that and all of that, do we have anybody that has questions? Do you need me to take it a couple steps back from everything we've learned? Because now going forward, we are going to be making use of everything we've learned so far. So if you feel like there's something you're yet to get, kindly let me know so we can take it back a bit before we go straight into data cleaning. So while that is going on, kindly download this Excel file, and that's what we'll be using now.
Everybody.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, Michael.
Sorry, there's this part I didn't get. I was
Okay.
trying to understand what Mr. I forgot his name, said about alignment, default
Okay.
alignment stuff. So I can check my alignment. at the top. So does it matter if there was something he said I was trying to assimilate very well because I'm actually driving, so I didn't get that part well.
Oh,
But my
okay.
point is, do I need to, because I understand Excel because I work with Excel, I understand I can change my alignment at the top.
Yes.
So if it's on the left, middle, or right, so does it implicate anything, or does it, because it was the answer you gave about that was if plain text, it means that, or if it's on the left alignment, it means that it's text input or something like that. I'm trying to get
Okay.
that.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes. So
I
what I
think I
was
can
saying
change
is,
alignment. Mm.
all right, kindly go ahead.
Yeah, continue, man. Continue, man. So I
All right. So
think,
what I was saying is, if I go on Excel, right, and
yeah,
I automatically type in a name. A name is a text, right?
yes,
Automatically, the Excel format of things would place a text on the left side of the cell. Do you understand? Like if I
I
give you
understand.
this data, like I said, I just typed this randomly. If I give it to you, just looking at it, you can automatically tell that this is text because it's on the left side of the cell. If I now come back to the cell underneath it and I decide to type in 4,000, you see that automatically it moves to the right side of the cell, right? Because this
Yeah.
is a number. So I'm talking about
Okay.
the normal Excel
So,
formatting when it
sorry,
comes down
in a
to
case where
alignment.
someone has not changed the alignment, how will I know that?
So
Because
the thing
now,
is that
if
you
it's
would always know, because if you come here, if you come on your own and you come on your numbers, automatically you see this as a text when it's up here.
okay,
You are definitely going to see this as a text,
okay.
right? Automatically, if you click on it, you see this as a text. So even if I now decide to say this one should now go here, it's not going to change the fact that it is a text up here.
So, okay, I think I got your point very clear now. But my point is on the part
Exactly.
of the alignment. Someone could have
Yes.
changed the alignment from left to right, and it will be difficult for me to just assume it's a text unless I'm
Oh,
telling them.
okay. No, not assumption would not always work. That was what I was trying to say, that if I gave you like a random data that is as small as this, right? Looking at it, you can tell. So it's not you would when it comes down to data transformation, you cannot assume. It's wrong to assume. But I'm just saying, if you look at it, you can be like, oh, this is a text. But then to confirm that this is a text, we can always go back to this and say, is this a text? Is this a number? Is this a currency? Is this a date? Right? You can always go aside regardless of the alignment. If I put it to left, put it to right, it's still going to come up as a text here. So are we clear?
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So have we been able to like download this sheet? Can we go on now? I'd like to have our responses, please.
Yes, we've downloaded it.
You've downloaded it. Have we opened it? Can we see what type of data we're dealing with now? Let's open it. Let's see the kind of data that we are dealing with. So where is mine? Mine is here. So first off, before we open it, let me say this, right? It's always best to deal with a copy of your document, of your data set, because you might always have to refer back to the original data set itself. So I'm not going to open this, which is the original data set. I'm going to create a copy of it. So you can see here that all I did was just copy and paste, and I have a copy of this sheet itself. Did we get that? I'd like to know if we got that, so I'll know if I'm to take it back or not.
Yes, I got that. That we are to make a copy of our data first thing before we start analysis.
All right, thank you, Chijuke. That was beautiful. So yeah, we have to make a copy of our data sheets because this one is what we're going to be working on, what we're going to be transforming. If at some point we need something from the previous data, we need to be able to access it, right? So it's best to just create a copy and work with your copy. So now let me open the copy of our data. So voila, this is what we have. This is messy. Maybe not the messiest you would say, if that makes sense, but like this is a messy data set, right? So we can see that we have 2 columns representing numbers. We can see that we have precedents in different font formats. We can see this prior that even it makes no sense at all. Let me enable editing. So we can see this prior that makes no sense at all. We can see commander. We can see like it's a total mess. Here we can see party. In our party, we can see this particular one that is not relating to what we have. We can see our vice here with different weird spaces. We can see our salary here with currencies. We can see dates. We can even see that the dates, the date formats are not correlating, right? So yeah, this is a messy data set, and this is what we'd be working with. Please, I would need everyone's rapt attention, right? I would need our attention because now we'll be doing data cleaning properly and formattings and visualizations. So this is, let's give it about 2 minutes for those that are yet to download it, for those that are yet to make a copy, and for those that are yet to open it. So I'll give 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, I'm going to go ahead with the data cleaning and the visualization of things. Please, if you've been able to do all of that, kindly let me know you're done, or you can put it in the chat box to know. So let me know that you've done that. Okay, we have a minute more for those that are still downloading. Okay, Emmanuel is done. What else do we have? I think Chidoke is done as well. Junior, Beatrice, Fatima, Teslim, Grace, Ahmad. Stephen. Okay, fine, 2 minutes. 2 minutes is done, so let's just go right into it. Now, the good parts of data cleaning. So yeah, we'll be looking at identifying and removing duplicates. We'll be looking at text functions, trim, clean, upper, lower, proper. We'll be looking at combining them, and we'll also be looking at paste as values. So yeah, we have that's a total of about 8 things that we'll be doing on this sheet today. Firstly, let's take it column by column. So this column, we're not really doing anything to it, right? This, we're not doing anything to it. These are just numbers. Let's come down to the first one. Here we have presidents, right? These are the presidents: George Washington, John Adams, Thomas. But it's a mess. The letters are not really in sync, right? So this is in about a sentence case, this is in lower case, this is in uppercase. Just, it's a total mess like that. So first thing, what do? We need to change the text format. And how do we do that? So let's come here. Let's insert. So once you insert to the left of it. So once you click on insert, this is going to be our president what? President formatted. I'll be president styled. Let's say president formatted, for the lack of a better word. So you can definitely use anything. I'm just coming up with random things at this point. So let's say this is president formatted, right? The formatted column of all that we have here. So now let's take this. What do we want to do here? We want to make it an uppercase, right? If I do, like I said, to start your function, it has to be equal to. Then if I do equal upper, you can see convert a text string to all uppercase letters. If I click on equal upper and I click on this and I enter, I can see that it gives me this as an uppercase word, right? These are two words. It gives me these words in uppercase format. If I take it down, it gives me all of the other words in uppercase format. And I don't even have to take it down like that. I can just double click on this. Let me take it back so we can see it. I can just double click on this tiny part here. Just come here, double click. It takes everything in an uppercase format. But I don't want them to be in uppercase format. Let me say I want them to be in a lowercase format. So what I'm going to do is come here, do lower, and yes, it takes it back to lowercase. If I come here, double click, takes everything back to lowercase. I hope we got that. So if I now want to make it a proper sentence, that means the beginning of each word should be a capital letter. All I need to do is come here and do what? Proper. If I click on proper, you can see that for my George, the G is a capital letter. For my Washington, the W is a capital letter. Same thing, I double click. Can we see that now we have a neater version of this president's column? We no longer have some lower cases, some upper cases. We no longer have a mixture of that. We now have a clean version of our president's column. Now we've done that, let's move to our next column. This prior, we are not going to be using it, so let's move to our next column. Our next column here is, just to be clear, you might get a data set that is less messy compared to this one, and you might get one that is more. So let's say for our party, you just have to take them column by column. You have to know what you're looking for. You have to sort out the simplest things first. You have to look at their the text format, right, which is the easiest thing you can start with. Once you start with that, then you can now start moving to like the white spaces. You want to be checking the currencies, the dates, all of that. But it's good to take it column by column so you can know that you've attempted everything on the sheet. So let me come to this column. I can see that this column is party, right? I can see non-partisan, we can see federalist, we can see democratic, we can see Whig. But this Whig is totally different from the other Whig that we have, right? So we can, if you come down, Republican, Democratic. I feel like the Whig is the only different one. And we can also see Republicans here. So these Republicans might be correct and it might be wrong. It might also be Republican and the S was just a mistake. So if I come here, what has happened? So if I come here, right, I can sort and filter. If I come to this place, okay, let me take it back for those that didn't see what I did. So here, I can come here, and this is our home, right? When you come down to editing in your home, you see sort and filter. So if I click on sort and filter, I can just click on filter. So automatically it gives me this filter drop down, right? So if I click on this, it gives me like a summary of everything on that party. Now I can see everything on that party. I can now say, okay, yeah, we have Democratic, Republican. Yeah, we have Democratic. Was this a mistake? Most likely, right? So we are going to unselect all of this. Then the first thing I want to deal with is the Democratic. It should be Democratic. So I'll click on this. Then it's going to give me everything on Democratic. All I need to do is just take this R, I put it in front where it ought to be. right? So that's democratic. Now we have democratic. So if I take it back here, we can no longer see democratic, right? Which was an error. We can no longer see democratic. Now we can see democratic, democratic, Republican. We can see the Federalists. We can see the Republican. We can see Republicans. Republicans might be or might not be. So it might be an error. It might not be an error. But for the sake of this session, let's just take it as an error, right? So we look for Republicans. You can see it's just one for Republicans. You can just click here, take away our S, then we have Republican. Once we go back to this, we can see we now have Republican, Whig, and this week. This week is our main problem. So all we need to do is the regular. We click on this, we open it, and what do? We edit it. We take away all of this, and we're left with week. So now we have our data we have our party in 6 places. We have the Democratic, Republican, the Federalist, the non-partisan, and the Republic, and the Whig, just in 6 places. So if I do select all and it comes out, we no longer have any error or any like different party in this place. So now this is sorted. This party is sorted. The non-partisan, the Federalist, Democratic, Republican, everything is sorted. We are done with this column. Are we together? Kindly let me know if you need me to take some things again. Or am I still on this call? Okay, yes, I am. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
All right. So let me take it back here. So now we're done with this particular column, and we'll be moving now to the vice, right? So vice, we can see here that aside the fact that vice has just a little problem with the text format, we can see a whole lot of spaces, right? We can see a space between Aaron. We can see a space between George and Clinton. We can see weird spaces everywhere. So what we want to do now is to clear all of these white spaces. What do we do to clear all of our white spaces? Like we did here, to undo this column, we are also going to do the same. So we are going to insert a new column next to this. We are going to insert a new column next to this, and we are going to trim all of the white spaces. If I do equal to trim, and I click on this part, equal to trim, and I do this, right? If I take this and I drag it down, I can see that with that trim function, it has taken away all of our white spaces, all of the spaces we had before Aaron, the one we had between George and Clinton, the one we had between George and M. Dallas, the one, like all of the weird spaces that we had before. It has taken out all of that. It's taking out all of that. We no longer have that. But now, the thing is that if we go down, we can see somewhere here that this office vacant has a it has a different case to the others, right? If we take it down again, we can still see this office vacant as a different case. If we take it down, we have another office vacant. If we take it down, we have another office vacant. We cannot present a data that is half formatted, right? We cannot present a data that is half formatted. We want something that looks well formatted, for the lack of a better word. We want a clean data. So if you're presenting to management or anybody, you're presenting a clean data. What we do now is we now mix. What did we used to get? Can anyone remind me what we used to get this when we were doing our precedent formatting? What did we used to, no, don't let me click on it. What did we used to achieve this when we were doing our precedent formatting? Anybody? What did we use to achieve this perfect sentence case? Yes?
What's the question, please?
So I was asking that when we wanted to get this, when we checked this, we said that the text cases were not in sync, right? We don't have the same text cases across it. So we had to create this column to fix that problem. How were we able to fix the problem here? Did we get my question?
The text to uppercase.
So now this is not uppercase. We made it like for every word, the beginning of the word starts with an uppercase. It's not totally upper, right? So how were we able to achieve this?
Okay, that was equals to we place the cursor on the cell where we want to make the changes. Just press equals to proper.
Okay, so we made use of the proper function to get
Yes,
this. So if I click on this, we can still see it here equal to proper and the cell name or the cell number, right? So we can see this here. So now I also want to make this like that. I don't want a situation where I would have office starting with a capital O and vacant starting with a small o and a small v rather. I want everything to be in a proper case. So all I'm going to do now is instead of this stream, I'm going to put in proper, open this, then close this. So if I click on this and I take it down, I can see that it has changed. For the office vacant now, it's starting with a capital O and a capital V. For this other office vacant too that was small before, it's starting with a capital O and a capital V. For which other one? This other office vacant is starting with a capital O and a capital V. For this other one, starting with a capital O and capital V. So if you click on it and you put proper, that means you're going to firstly change all of them to a proper case. Then you trim all the white spaces, the excess spaces that you have in between them. So this is a very easy way to go about your trimming and all of that. So this, once you have this and you click in your proper and your trim, automatically is going to give you, and all you have to do to cover the rest of the things you have in that column is to just come by this side and double. Once you come by this side, it's going to change to like a cross sign. Then all you need to do is double click and automatically it goes down the whole column. So now we've been able to cover the precedent column of things. We're able to format that successfully. We've been able to format the party successfully. We've also been able to format our vice now successfully. So now what do we do next? We are moving down to salary. So for the salary, I want it to remain as a number. I want to take away this currency out of it. I want to take away the text and everything. So I'm going to make it, I'm going to come here, open this. I'm going to make it a number. So you see that when I make it a number, that sign that you have in front of it is gone. But now it looks a little ugly. So now I come here and I can do this. So once I add a comma, it automatically feels like a proper accounting value. So now you see 5,000, 10,000. You don't, let me take it back so we can see the difference. So yeah, it's just a plain number. These are just plain numbers, right? But if I come here and I just click on, all I need to do is click on that and it gives me in an accounting value. So now 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I can decide to add another zero to the back, right? I can, because it's my cell, I can do whatever I want. I can decide to add another zero. I can decide to take down every zero behind it. I can decide to leave it like this. I can decide to come back and say, okay, no, I want 1 0 behind it, right? Let's say I want 1 0 behind it. What's going on? Why? Okay, so yeah, I can decide to say I want 1 more zero behind it. I can decide to say I'm taking away the zero completely. So that I could decide to do all of these things, everything. So now I'm choosing to leave it as this. We don't really have a lot of formatting to do when it comes to our salaries, depending on how messy the data you get is. So yeah, for the date updated, I already walked us through dates earlier, right? So can anybody remind me what type of date format this is? What type of date formats do we have here? Hello? What type of date formats do we have here?
That's the long format.
So yeah, so this
Long
is
data.
our long data format. This is our long format. This is our short. We can see that there's no consistency in all of this. So what we do is come here. What do I want it to look like? I want it to be a short date. I want it to be a short date, or I want it to be like this. So I come back here. I'll say, okay, this one, I want this to also be like that, like what I did earlier. I want this to also be like this. So you can see, you can play around with the date. You can make it a long one. You can make it a short format. You can make it like this. You can decide to leave just the day in itself and the month. You can decide to leave just the month and the year. You can just decide to do any formatting as you wish, right? So I hope we are also working on our files as I am doing all of this. I really hope we are working on our files. So yeah, now we've done the basic editing and the transformation of our data. Now let's start taking out the excess. So first, we have two like serial number columns. We don't need them. We can delete this. You can just delete this. So now we have one serial number column. So because we have president formatted and president, we have to move what we have under president formatted to president. And why? Because you could just say, we can just delete this B now. Once we delete this B column, we are going to be left with president formatted. But it can't go that way. Why? Because this president formatted is connected to the B column. Right? So we are picking up our value from this B column. If I make a mistake of deleting this, we can see that this is an error because the column at which it was referencing earlier has just been deleted. So I have nothing to do. So let me take it back. So now what we can do is try to copy everything that we have here to this place as a value. So what do we do? I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but you can actually use Control Shift and your arrow down key, if that makes sense, to highlight everything that you have in that column. So you just do your column shift and the down key arrow to just highlight everything that you have on that sheet. So what I'll do is I'll copy this and I'll come here, right? And I'll paste this as what? As a value. So I'll paste this as a value and you can see that automatically what I have here has moved to this place. So now I can go ahead and just delete this one. So we can see that our data is now coming together. I can go ahead and just delete that one. So we'll not be making use of this prior. It's not necessary. So I'll just delete this. So here we have the party, we have the vice. Like I said, what we did for the president earlier is the same thing we are going to do for the vice. We cannot just delete the vice. If we delete the vice, we're going to have an error, right? Because this column was referencing the previous column I just deleted. So let me take it back. So we're going to come here, Control Shift down, copy. Then I come back here and I have a paste value option, right? We can see that now what we have here has already moved to this place. So now I can conveniently delete. So I can conveniently delete this. Right, so we can see now that our data is coming together. Now our data looks like something we can present to management and say, oh, management, oh, this is what we have. Oh, we have so people on party, the president, we have the vice, we have our salary, we have the date created, and we have the date updated. We have the dates created, and we have the dates updated. So here's what we have. Let me try to zoom in a bit. So here's what we have. This is a proper data on its own now, a proper data set on its own now. So now, just looking at this, you can already tell, oh, for George Washington, his vice is John Adams, and this is the salary, this is the date it was updated, and this is the date it was created. But once you look at it, you can already take that out. But if you're dealing with, this is just 45, if you're dealing with something that has about 1,000 entries, you will definitely not be able to start looking for them one by one, right? So yeah, we've been able to successfully clean our data. Do we have questions? Do you need me to take some things again before I go ahead? Any questions? You need me to take some things again before I go ahead, or I can just go ahead into the next thing that we have? I'd like a response, please, so I can know what to do.
Question, though I did not get everything very well, so that's because I'm a little bit distracted. So we have
Okay.
when the class is being shared. That is the session. We will have to go through it again, but we are good to go.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you for that. So let's go ahead. So yeah, for our data cleanup preparations, so we're going to look for our duplicates. Let's go back to check for our duplicates. Then after checking for duplicates, we've already made use of trim, right, to remove all internal and extra internal spaces. For clean, right, uppertext, lowercase, proper, combining them, which was what I did earlier, which was proper, trim, clean. You can run all three at once. And if you're pasting, you have to paste as values to replace formula with a clean static text. So let me go back to this. Let me see if I come back to the data. If I click on remove duplicates, right, automatically it's going to select all columns. I want to remove duplicates from every column. It's going to select all columns. If I feel like, okay, I just wanted to remove duplicates from the serial number. I don't want it to remove duplicates from the serial number. Let me say on select all. I want it to remove duplicates from just the serial number, right? If I click serial number, okay, it's only going to remove duplicates from the serial number. But I want it to remove duplicates from every one of them, every column. Anywhere you see a duplicate, I need you to take it off. So if I click OK, we can see 2 duplicates found and removed. So we now have 45 unique values remaining. All right, so that's fine. So we've done our duplicates. Now we know that, okay, every value that we have here does not have a duplicate value on this table. So now let's go back to this. I want us to walk through lookups and logical formulas before we go on our break. So now this, I don't want to say it's not complex, right? But it will be great to pay rapt attention. So here we have the logical formulas. We have our if function, right? So you're testing if something is equal to something, then it gives me this or it gives me this, right? And we also have nested if. That means we can have an if inside of an if. That means if this is this, it gives me I. If this is this, it gives me medium. If not, it gives me this. We can have multiple ifs in one if statement. But instead of having multiple ifs in one if statement, it's best to use the if with an S. So if you use the if with an S, all you need to do is just the test, the value, the test, the value. Now, Let's try that. Let's come here. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's come back here. It will be easier to learn with this one. So this is a very short data set, right? And I want to use my if statement. If I come here, because this is our function, right? If I come here, if I click on function, you can see here that when you click on insert function, you can see type a brief description of what you want to do and click go. So if I don't know where my ifs is, all I need to do is just type ifs. Once I type ifs, I click go. I see all my ifs, average ifs, count ifs, max ifs, mini ifs, sum ifs. But now I want to make use of if first, then ifs later. So this is if. If I click on if, I click on OK. Now it gives me this argument, right? So the logical test is what exactly am I testing against? So if I say I want to test if 45 is greater than 5,000, okay, so let me say if this one is greater than 5,000. We can see that automatically, without even writing anything, I can already say false here. If this is greater than 5,000, false, Abby. So if that is this logical test that I'm putting in, if it is true, then I want it to give me greater. If it is false, I want it to give me lower. Can we see that even before I clicked OK or enter at all, I can already see my answer here equal to lower, because C3, which is 45, is definitely lesser than 5,000. So if I click OK, so you can see that here I have lower. That's the function of the if statement. You're using your if to compare, right? So if I say, okay, I want to compare 7,000 and 8,000. If 7,000 is greater than 8,000, give me greater. If 7,000 is lesser than 8,000, give me lesser. That's how it works. So that's the use of your if statement. It does not really take so much work. You just need to go to your insert function, put in your if, put in the value you want to compare, put in your range text, put in your value if true and your value if false. So do we need me to take that again, or just let me know if there's a problem or there's anything you need me to take again because of our time? So yeah, that is the if statement. The if is very easy. You're just comparing two things. But if I now take it back to the nested if, or okay, let me take it back to the nested if. Okay, not this one. This one. So this one I now want to do equal to if if this one is greater than 2,000, if C3 is greater than 2,000, let's say, would give me greater, right? If C3 is greater than 2,000, give me greater. If C3 is equal to 2,000, if C3 is equal to 2,000, to give me equal. If this one, I made my if statement here. So if this is, so if it's not greater, then you have what here? Lower. I'm going to explain all of this. I'm just trying to like type it in first. So here we have if. Here we have this. Here we have this. So if this is greater than this, we have this. If this is greater than this, we have this, right? So So we can see that when I did that, let me click on this so we can see what I input, the input I gave it. So we can see if C3 is greater than 2000. What is our C3? Our C3 is 45, right? So if 45 is greater than 2000, I need it to return greater. But if 45 is equal to 2000, I need it to return equal. So if it's none of these two things, if it's not greater and it's not equal, that means automatically it is lower. So if it's not fulfilling this greater than and it's not fulfilling this equal sign, that means it is lower. So return lower. But C3, which is 45, is definitely greater than 2000, which was why it returned greater as our answer here. I hope that is clear, and I hope I'm not moving too fast. Let me put it back. I'd like to know if you understand everything I've been saying so far before we go ahead. Oh, I was almost told. Hello? Okay, understood.
Well
All right,
understood.
Stephen, thank you.
Uh,
All right.
sorry, Abiwumi. Please don't forget to be heading for break by 12 and
Yes,
we're back by 12:30.
definitely. I'll just run through what else I have now.
Thank you.
All right. So yes, this is clear. So that is the way you make use of your if. But the thing now is, if I want to keep having ifs, it's just going to be a bunch of if statements, and it's not going to make any sense at all. Which is why we have our nested if, right? Which is why we have our ifs rather. So if I come here and I do ifs and I click on ifs, right? Ifs is the logical test. If this is greater than, if C3 is greater than 7,000, automatically this is giving me false, right? So if this is greater than 7,000, what should it return? It should return greater, as we have before. It should return greater. What's the logical test 3? If this is, let me say, still C3, if this is equal to 7,000, it should return equal. So if it is not, then it can return, if this is less than 7,000, come in. So if we have C3 is greater than 7,000, which is false, give me greater. If is equal to, give me equal. So let's say equals to, okay, let me take this off. Let me see if this would give me what I want. Right here. If this is less than 7,000, which is true, give me lesser. So yeah, we can see that my function was ifs. I did not have to impute several if into this. I only had to use if and use comma to separate them, right? So I said if this is greater than 7,000, give me greater. But if this is lesser than 7,000, give me lesser. Automatically, it gave me lesser because 4,500 is lesser than 7,000, right? So when it comes down to ifs, you don't have to keep writing multiple ifs in one function. You can just use ifs and separate all of them with a comma. So I think we'll have to go on our break now. We'll be back by 12:30, and then we'll take a look at the we'll take a look at the and or, then we are going to move straight into our pivot tables. So I think we can go on our break now. Emmanuel? Emmanuel, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Adewumi.
Yes, so
Break
thank
now
you.
and come back by 12:30. Thank you so much, everybody.
So much, man.
Thank you, everyone. All right, thank you, Damola. Yes, let's go ahead with our session. I believe we're all back now. We're back on this call. So I'd have to go back to sharing my screen. Kindly let me know when you can see it. I'm sharing the entire screen. All right, kindly let me know if you can see my screen already.
Sure, we can see.
All right, so let's just go right ahead into. So we stopped that. Let me take it back a bit. We've looked at our if functions. We checked out the nested if. We checked out the if with an S, the ifs. Now we'll be going into our VLOOKUP, right? So from our VLOOKUP, we'll check out match and indexes, and we'll also check out a couple of the sort of functions too. So let me take it back to our Excel sheet. So yeah. So now we want to take a look at VLOOKUP. For the function of a VLOOKUP is just to give a value, right? So when I say a value, if I say, okay, I have a very large data set, right? And I know that there's somebody called John on that data set. But the thing is, I don't know what John earns per month. And I really want to know what John earns. And it's a large data set. I cannot start going through them one by one to know what John earns. So the best thing you can use, the best function you can use is the VLOOKUP. So I'm going to be trying it here, and I'm going to be trying it on our larger data set here, so we can see on both sides. So first, VLOOKUP, like I said, every function starts with an equal to sign. Then we have VLOOKUP. So here, if we have, we can see that our VLOOKUP looks for a value in the leftmost column of the table, then returns a value in the same row. So we are taking a look at our VLOOKUP. Like I explained earlier, I want to look for a particular value. Instead of going through the table top to bottom, I just want a particular value. So I'm saying VLOOKUP, what is my lookup value? I want to look for John. But before that, let me bring out what I want to look for. Let's say I want to look for Debs and John. I'm just copying and pasting here, nothing crazy. So I want to look for Debs and John, right? For Debs equal to VLOOKUP. What's our lookup value? Lookup value is what exactly am I looking for? I'm looking for Debs, right? But where am I looking for Debs? That is the table array. I'm looking for Debs in the whole of this table. I don't really have to add the dates, right? I'm looking for Debs in this table, right? Covers the name, the department, and the sales. So I'm looking for Debs here. That is the table array. What column exactly do I need my data to be drawn from? I want my data to be drawn from column 3 because I want to know the sales that happened in the marketing department when Debs is in charge. So I'm looking at the third column, which is the sales. So I'll put 3 here. I'll put a comma. Then I have the range lookup. Range lookup is saying, do you want me to provide you with an approximate match to what you're looking for? Or you need me to provide you with an exact match to what I'm looking for? So I want an exact match. I don't want you to give me maybe or maybe not. I want an exact match. So when I click on exact match, then I enter. When I entered, what did we notice? We noticed that now we have 5,000. Why do we have 5,000? Because it has gone into this table that I provided. It looked at Debs and was like, oh, debts, they said I should look for the value that you have for sales. So you went into the table, looked for debts, traced debts to the sales value, right? Using this table that I provided, traced the debt to the sales and provided me with the information that I needed to know on debts, right? So if, let's say, what I need to know about debts is what department, then I can just come back here. Instead of this column 3, it's going to be column 2 where the department is, right? So it's going to be 2. If I click 2, I'm going to see it's giving me marketing. That means it has gone to that column 2 that I wanted it to go to, and it has picked what belongs to debt and giving that to me as an answer, right? So if we do for John, same thing, we can just drag this. In fact, when we drag this, we can see that this is no longer marketing, it is now sales, because now I'm using for John. It has gone into the table, looked for John's department, and he has given me that as an answer to my question. So let's say this is a smaller data set. Let's now go to a larger one, right? So I have this. Let's say I don't want to keep going through 1 to 45. Let me look for Richard and Gerald. Richard and Gerald, copy. Nope. I'll paste them here. So for Richard, I want to know how much Richard earns. It's a salary, right? Okay, maybe this is too far. Let me take it away from you. Let me put it back up a little. Okay, let me copy that again. Let me put it here. So now it's up here. Now I can see. So I want to see how much Richard earns. I want to know what Richard's salary is. But just looking at this, I can't even find Richard here. Instead of me going down to do all of that, I can just use my V lookup, right? What am I looking for? I'm looking for Richard. In what table? I'm looking for Richard in this table, right? All of this table like this. I need to find Richard there. I'm looking for Richard in this table, comma. What index number am I looking for? I want to know Richard's salary, which is this, comma. I already explained this. Do you want it to be an approximate match or you want it to be an exact match? So an exact match is what I want. When I click enter, I can see 315,000. If I go down to salary, to Richard's salary, I can see here that Richard's salary is 315,000. So that's how you make use of the VLOOKUP. It makes your data easier, especially if you're looking for something and you don't want to go down for it, especially if you're dealing with a larger data set, as I mentioned. You don't have to go down for it. All you need to do is use your VLOOKUP and it's going to search for that value and bring it to you. So if you take this down, like I did earlier, it's going to give me a different value because now it's now picking for this person, right? No longer Richard is not picking for this person. So that is that on VLOOKUP. It's not a very complex concept. Okay, so here we can see this is the syntax, and always use 0 or false. False is going to give you the exact match. If you try to use true, it might give you an approximate match, which you don't want that when it comes down to your data work, right? So let's take it down. Now let's take a look at index and match. So match gives match and index, they give quite similar function to the VLOOKUP in itself, right? So match returns the row of what you're looking for. Now, let me do it this way. So let me take this back here. So if I do match, if I do this match, what's my lookup value? I'm looking for debts. I want to know what row debts is in, right? Where do I want you to search? I want you to search this table to look for where debts is in, rather. So you have this, you have the lookup array. When I click on this, what do I see? 2, because debts is in row 2. match returns the row, right? So if by chance I have a very, 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 let's say I have a large data like this, and I'm looking for Jimmy Carter, I don't have to start scrolling to know what row Jimmy is. All I need to do is just do what? Match. I need to match this and compare it to what I have on this table, right? So once I do that, I have 34. If I go down to row 34, I'm definitely going to see. If I go down to row 34, I'm definitely going to see my Jimmy. Why is it 39? Yeah, not 39. Are you making a mistake? So let me try with this. If I do March, I'm looking for this in this. Okay, for this, comma, in this. And I bring it here. Groover is, why is it just giving 34, 34? It's supposed to give the row of whatever we're looking for. It's supposed to give the row of whatever we're looking for. I don't know why there's a problem with this one. Well, let me try it for the last time. If not, we're just going to go back to the previous data set. So now I'm looking for Richard. I'm looking for Richard in this place. Right. I'm looking for Richard here. And this 37. Richard 37. Yes, Richard is 37. I don't know why it's now giving this for this two, but yeah. As we can see, nope. So as we can see here for Richard, it gave us 37 as the row of Richard. And if we come down here, you can see 37 here as Richard's row, right? So that's it. If you're working with a more complex data, all you need to do is to match to get the row of it. So if you've gotten your row and you need to, the row returns a position, the index returns a value, right? For my row is just a position, I just need to know where Richard is. But I want to know what Richard earns. That's why I said it is very similar to the VLOOKUP function. I want to know what Richard earns, right? So I can do index. So yeah, I can do equals index. If I click on index, the array is from here to here. I want it to cover the salary. I want to know what Richard earns, right? The array is from here to here. The row number that we've gotten here, you need to get your match before your index because you're definitely going to need the row number. So what row number did we get here? We got 37. What column number do I want it to give me my own answer from? Now, the column is what? Let's say column 4. Right? If it's column 4 and I enter, what did it give me? 305,000. So if I go back to this B1 and I want to look for 37 and I take it down, it's going to give me 305. Why did I click on that? So it's going to give me 305 for row 37. It's going to give me 305, right? So you need to have your match value before you can calculate for your index. I hope that's clear because I've just been speaking a lot. I hope that's clear. Do you need me to go back on anything? Let me see. Does anybody need me to go back on anything before I move forward? I would like our responses, please.
I understand clearly.
Okay. All right, so let's just go ahead with what we have because of time. So here we have our sum if, we have count if, we have average if. We already looked at our if statements. I'm just going to take one or two examples on the sum ifs. So it's very easy to use if you want to make use of your sum if. All you need to do is come here, click on your functions, then we have our sum if, right? So when you click on OK, it brings this argument. So what's the range of the sum? I'm picking it from here. This is my range. I want you to pick my values from this space. What's my criteria? I want you to only add them up if they're greater than 3,000. I only need an addition of numbers or I only need an addition of numbers that are greater than 3,000 in this cell. That's all I need. You can see that before I click OK, I already have a total, which is 28,000, right? Because we have 2,000 here, which is lesser than 3,000. So it was not added to our calculations, right? But we have 28,000 here. 28,000, there's no naira. Why did I keep saying it? So we have 28,000 here. So I already gave it a condition that the only time I want you to sum up these things is when they are greater than 3,000. If I take it back and I want it to be when it's greater than 5,000, you're going to give me a different value because we have just two things here that are greater than 5,000, which is the 8,000 and the 7,000. Right? So that's the function of your count sum if. The count if is also going to work the same way, right? If it is if it contains marketing, if it contains let's just take it and see how it will go. So let me put my count if here. Okay, let me set for count if. Oh, okay. So where am I counting from? I'm counting from here. What's the criteria? If it contains depth. So we can see here that it gave me 2. What was my criteria? If it contains depths. How many depths do we have here? We have 2. That was the reason it gave me my count as 2. So when it comes down to count ifs, sum ifs, average ifs, the only reason they are different from the usual summation and count is that you can add an argument to it, right? You can add a range. You can say, okay, I only want this to add up if it's this. I only want this to add up if it's that. But when you're doing normal sums, you don't have any, I can't come here and say, okay, I want to do equal sum of these things. And now add, okay, you can only sum it if it's greater than 1,000. It wouldn't work. So your sum if is the function that can work in all of these instances. Your sum ifs, your average ifs, and your count ifs. So now I think we can now move to what we have. So don't worry, I'll maybe like share this with the admin so you can get them. You can take a look at this quiz. You can try them on your own. We already talked about VLOOKUP. We already talked about ifs. We already talked about the match. So can anybody answer this question? What does the match return, a value or a position? Can anyone answer this question? What does the match return? Does it return a value or a position?
It returns a value.
Do we have any other answers? Any other answers? Please, you can unmute your mic and speak. I'd like to know if we have any other answers. Okay, so we do not have any other answers. Our match returns a position. Like I mentioned earlier, it shows you the row at which whatever value you're looking for is, right? I gave us an example here that it returns your, let me go back here. If I do Debs and John, if I bring them here and I want to know what row Debs is in, all I need to do is do my match. I'm looking for Debs. Debs is my lookup value. I'm searching for Debs in this place, right? And for Debs in this place, I can see that it is 2. Why is it 2? Because it's in row 2. Debs is in row 2. Right? That's the function of a match. A match returns a position of a particular lookup value. But if it is index, I can use index to get what sales occurs in marketing through Debs. Let's say for John, I can say, okay, John is in row 4. I can say John index. What is the array? Index, this is all I'm looking for. What is the row number? The row number is 4. What is the column number? I want you to pick my answer from column 3. You can see 8,000. So because this is John's sales 8,000 on the particular row and the particular column that I wanted to bring out my value from, that is the function of index. Index gives you a value while the match gives you a position on the Excel. And I hope that was clear enough. So yeah, you can have like a little project. You can set up a very short data set with your product ID, the name, the category. You can try to make use of lookups. You can try to make use of ifs and some ifs. So all of these things we can always try on our own to get a better understanding of what we're dealing with here. So let's take a look at pivot tables. I think this is going to be the last thing I'll look at today, hopefully because of our time. So now let's go down to pivot tables. Now this is the work. Not the work, the interesting part. So yeah, let me go down to, this is our data. This is the data we're working with, right? And I want us to come here. I want us to insert a pivot table. All you need to do is just come down to insert. When you come down to insert, automatically you see your pivot table by the left side. So once you click on pivot table, the pivot table is going to bring up something like this. Then you have your table range. I want to cover everything from top to bottom, right? I want to cover my table from top to bottom. So it's covering all of my table. Where do you want the pivot table to be placed? I want it to be on a new worksheet. Like this one is already filled. I no longer want to have anything here. I want it to be on a new worksheet. Then all I would do is K. You can see that automatically it brought me to a new sheet and it brought up this field list. That is the function of a pivot table. A pivot table gives you a field list and it allows you to really modify the data. It allows you to choose what you want to see at the moment and it allows you to choose what you do not want to see at the moment. So let's say now I have my pivot table. My pivot table is empty. What can I do? Let's say for rows, I hope you are going along with me as I'm taking all of these things, because then it would be easier for you to understand and for you to remember. So now I want my president to be here. I want to have a list of my presidents. I want to have a list of all of them. Aside having a list of my presidents, I want to know the salary that they all earn. So salary is my value. President is my role. So these are my presidents, and this is the sum of their salaries, right? These are all of their salaries. If I come down, I can see the grand total of the salaries. So if I decide to close this now, I can close this. and say, okay, now I have what I want and this looks good enough, but it does not. We can do other things with our pivot table. Let's go back to our field list. So here we can decide to, what else do we want to do? What else do we want to do? So for the columns, we can, maybe the party. Let's try the party. When I put the party, it's going to spread out all of the parties in across the columns, right? So yeah, I have the Democratic, Republican, the Federalist, the non-partisan, the Republican, the Whig. I'm going to have all of this spread across. So I can look at this and say, Abraham is part of the Republican Party. Barack Obama is part of the Democratic Party. Bill Clinton is part of the Democratic Party. I can look at this and be like, oh, I can say, James is part of the Democratic Party. Oh, I can say Thomas is part of the Democratic Republican. You can just look at this and say, okay, now I can put 2 and 2 together and cross them to each parties that they belong, right? So you can do a lot more things. I would advise that we go on these things and try to use them, try to play around with them. So if we have here, now I already have my parties to be at the column side of things. Let's say now I want to filter them. I want to filter them by vice. We can see vice up here with a drop down. If I say, okay, I want only those that have Aaron as their vices, I want just the list of those people. If I click on this, and I click OK, I can only see the person that has Aaron as his vice here, which is Thomas Jefferson, right? If I come here and I say, okay, I only want to see for those that have Calvin, you're only going to see for the person that has Calvin as his vice, instead of vice. So if I click here and I say, okay, I want to select multiple items. I want to see for Joe and John. I also want to see for James. I'm going to see for Joe, James, and John, right? So it depends on any way you decide to filter it, any way you decide to go about it. You have the flow when it comes down to pivot tables, right? You can, if the management is demanding for a very short, a summary of everything that you've done so far, you can just come here and show them, and they're like, oh, we want to see for those in Democratic and also people that have their vices as James and John. All you need to do is come here, filter that, and voila, you already have your data. Nobody's going to look at this and tell you that they don't understand what is going on here, because it's clearly, this is clear as clear as it can be, right? Because you're looking at this, you can see the Democratic, you can see the names, and you can see the salaries. Very clear. So now let's see, what else do we think we can do on here? So we've done the filter, we've taken a look at the columns, we've taken a look at the rows, we've taken a look at the salaries. So now let's see if we can create a pivot chart. A chart is different from a table, just so we are clear. So let's say pivot chart. For a pivot chart, I want my table range to be from here to here, like I did earlier. So I want it to be here on an existing worksheet. I want it to be here alongside the pivot table. If I click on OK, it's going to give me this. So like I did earlier, I want to have my president and the salaries as my values. So you can see that automatically it gave us this. This is a chart. You can see here, let me see if I can zoom this in. So I can zoom this in. All right, so we can see here that every president has a, we can see here for Abraham Lincoln, we can see the 100,000. For Andrew, we can see the 100. For Benjamin, we can see the a little above 150. You can see all of these things using this chart. I can decide that, oh, I don't want my chart to contain the axis. I can say, okay, I want my chart to contain axis titles. I can say, okay, I want my chart to contain a chart title, which it already has. I want it to contain data labels. It's going to be totally messy because then you'll be having all of this data around. We don't want that. I want it to contain data table, messy. I want it to contain errors bar, messy. I don't want it to have grid lines. I take it off, no more grid lines. I take this off, you see like a spread in the data, right? If I put in a trend line, you can see how the trend goes, the rise and the fall. If I take off the trend line, you can no longer see that. So yes, again and again and again, you can play around with these things. I can decide to change the style. I want it like this. I don't want it to look like this anymore. I want it like this. I want it like this. This is totally messy though, but I can want it like this. I want it to remain like this. I want to change the color. I want to change the color to orange like this. I want to make it a more monochromatic. So all of these things you can do. Every single thing on this thing. You can tweak them, you can change them as many times as you want to. If I say I just want Abraham and Andrew on this list, I'm only going to get Abraham and Andrew. If I take it back and say, okay, I want Abraham, Andrew, and Barak, Benjamin. I'm only going to have Abraham, Andrew, Barak, and Benjamin, right? If I feel like, oh, the whole thing, if I try to select all, it looks too clustered, I can just remove the ones I want, I do not want at the moment, and just leave with the ones I want. So yes, you can tweak it. You can tweak it as many times as you want to. If I say, let me filter by value, for those that are, let me say, greater than, if sum of salary is greater than 90, okay, let me say 100,000. Only if it is greater than 100,000, that is when I want to see it on the sheet. If I click OK, you can see that it has taken 95,000 away from here because I already filtered the value that only if it is greater than 100,000, that is the only time I want to see it on my sheet. So we can see that we can play with these things as much as you want to. You can tweak them, you can arrange them, and data analytics is just a playground. It's just going to be a playground from there, honestly. If you get very conversant with all of these things. So yeah, we can see our table. If you want to present to a client and the client wants to see it as a chart, you can also definitely present this as a chart. So I think that is that on pivot tables. Do we have questions? Do we need me to go back on a couple steps? I'd like to know. Are we good to go? Should I go ahead? I'd like to know we're still with me. Am I still? Okay, yeah. Can I go ahead? Should I take some things again? See? Hello, do we have people on this call?
Now with you now you can go again. Right? I mean you can go ahead. Now with you.
All right. So it would be great to know I'm not just speaking to myself and you actually understand everything I've been saying so far. So yeah, I already did all of this. We tried to insert a pivot table. We already took a look at the fields, the value areas, the source data. We already did our filters. So yeah, we can make use of a slicer. But the thing is, a slicer is the same as a slicer is the same as a filter, honestly. Because if I come in here and I say that I need a slicer for my pivot table. Insert slicers. If I want to insert slicers, it's just going to filter the things. If I say I want it to take away, I want it to be president and probably salary, and I click OK, it's just going to give me a filter of the salaries and the presidents. Right, so it's still along the lines of a filter, right? It basically does the work of filtering. So yeah, I can see for George Washington here, 5,000. I can see 205 for William. Anything. It basically does filtering. That's the main function of the slicer. So in case we have to make use of it, let's just have that at the back of our mind that the function of the slicer is just to filter. All right, so data visualization and charts. So yeah, let's take this data visualizations and charts. So this is quite an easy part. We're just going to go here. So with the data we already have, I want to create a bar chart. So I want to use department and sales. I'm coming down to insert. You see all of your charts here. You will see a column or bar chart. You see the line chart. You see a pie chart. You can see all of your charts from here. You can have the chart in a 2D column, 3D, 2D bar, 3D bar. Let's click on 3D. Let's click on this. So for marketing and sales, I can see this. For marketing, 5,000. For marketing, 4,500. I can see for sales, I can see for sales, I can see for HR, I can see for HR. So it's very easy to create like charts, your bar charts, your pie charts. All they need is your data range, right? If I now come here, I can decide, oh, I want to filter out sales, right? I want to filter out, I don't want sales in what I'm looking at. I don't want sales here. Let me go back to my filter. I don't want sales here. I only want marketing and HR. If I apply that, I'm only going to see marketing and HR. If I put back my sales, I'm going to see, if I put back one sales, I'm going to see one here. So you can always tweak them. The colors, I don't like blue. I want it to be like this. I want the style to be like this. I want the color to be like this. Here, I want you to have data labels on top. I want you to have a data table below. I want you to have error bars. I want you to have grid lines, right? I want you to have a trend line. I don't want you to have a trend line. I don't want you to have grid lines. You can do all of these things, everything on this. So we've done for a bar chart. Let's go down to, let's say, a line chart. We can use this, 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 anything at all. Let's see this. So instead of a bar chart, this is a line chart that shows us, right? So I can change the color here. I can make it like this. I can do this. I can say, okay, I want it this way. I can say, no, I want it this way. I can come here, put in a data table below, right? So as you're looking at it, you can see marketing 5,000, marketing 4,500. I can put in grid lines. I want grid lines. I can put in up and down bars, right? I can put in anything at all that I wish. But the lesser you have on your charts, the better, honestly. It's very good to have a clean and direct chart. I don't want to be looking at your chart and having and seeing multiple things at the same time. So it's great to have a less features on your charts, for the lack of a better word. It's great to have that. So data labels, you have this. So I can come here and say, okay, I want to change the color. I don't want blue. I want yellow. I don't want yellow. I want black, gray, white. I could come here and filter out like I did earlier. Let me say I filter out one marketing. If I apply this, I'm only going to have one marketing here. And yes, you can just do a lot with all of these charts. If I come back here and I say, okay, I want to use this same data. Let me now use 3. Now I want to use the same data for my pie chart. Let me say I want the chart to look like this, or I want it to look like this, right? Or I want it to be a 3D chart. I can do and undo on Excel. You have that permission just to tweak it anyhow you want to, right? So we can see the colors and what they represent. You can see that this lighter shade of blue represents depth from marketing, right? We can see this shade of orange represents another depth from marketing. We can see this gray represents John from sales. This represents John from sales. See? If you are confused, you don't know which is which, you can put on your data labels and it will show you which is which. So this, I can tweak the colors. I can say I want it like this. This is a mess. I can say I want it like this. I can say, okay, I want it like this. I want it like this. I could put it in different forms. I could filter out, okay, I don't want depth from marketing and I don't want this John from sales. If I apply this, this is what I'm going to get, right? This is what I'm going to get. So I believe, okay, I just remembered something. I don't think I showed us earlier. So if we come into this, okay, this, okay, yes, we've done it. All right. So I think that is all that I have for us today. These are just the charts, the cell rules, and these are like questions that you can attend to. And this is just a very basic cheat sheet that I was able to come up with for your VLOOKUP, your XLOOKUP, for your sum ifs, count ifs, for your index, and match, for your if error, for your filtering, and all of that. So this is just a cheat sheet. I think we are done for today. Do we have questions? Do we have contributions? Anything you'd like me to go back on? So I think we're done for today. Do we have questions, contributions? Any other thing you'd like me to shed light on? Anything at all? Okay, so I don't think we have questions. Or do we?
I just want to say I am so thrilled for today's class. But since we've started, today is a class I know that it has been practical from the beginning to the end. So I want to appreciate you. And your lecture mode is so easy to comprehend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate your contributions. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. If we do not have any other questions or contributions, I think, Emmanuel, you can come in now, or anyone from the admin can come in now and just try to wrap things up. Thank you. Hello, Damola, are you with me?
Yes, I am. My network is it was a bit unstable, so I have to switch.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. So I think you can conclude now. Done for today. Thank you so much.
All right. So I would like everyone to first appreciate our trainer for today. where you can unmute your mic to speak, or you can use an emoji, or you can also use the chat box to, to let our trainer know how well you enjoyed today's session and how informative it was. And I will also be resending the feedback form. So I'll be sending the link to the feedback form on the chat, and also the attendance form, so we can all fill it and make sure that, okay, we filled our attendance for today. And if you have anything on your mind, probably it's a way you want it to be better on Transformation College, you can just fill the feedback form and let us know. And I'm sorry for the background noise. So basically, you'll be getting the material for today's session later on over the weekend, and you'll also be getting the assignment for today's session. Please make sure that you submit your assignment on or before the day of class. And the registration fee is a very important part of this course, because the course has been made free for entry to a certain amount. So for people that are actually serious about, getting an outcome like a certificate out of this course and being able to apply it in the real world, you would need to actually pay for your registration fee. And the registration fee will be also sent to the group. So pay attention on the groups, and I'm sure it will have been sent over the week. So I want us to all to pay attention to the group, and be active on and respond when you get messages on the group that pertain to how much and basically the registration fee is just 10,000 naira. That's all you need to pay, the registration fee. So it gives validation for, to be able to write the exam. So is anybody that has not paid their registration fee would not be able to write the exams for this course. So, and it will, it will show you how dedicated and how concentrated you are on the course, and how it shows that you really want to achieve something by turning up and being active in classes. So, one more time, I would like to appreciate every one of you for coming to today's session, and we're really, really proud, and we love the fact that you are here. And I want us to share this course to any of our family members, our friends, our relations, and even your enemy. So I want us, to have this course being shared, because it's a big platform that people don't have this opportunity, and a few people still know about it, not really so much. So we are trying our best to push it to a wider audience. So would appreciate, the efforts of every one of us here, also trying to support and educate their loved ones. I can see Emmanuel Oga hands are up. You can say what you're free to talk. Hello, Mr. Emmanuel.
Once again, I really appreciate the good work you people are doing. Really appreciate. We don't take it for granted. For the registration fee, by God's grace, we'll do that. I believe others will do that too. I just want to share my observation. In fact, since we started, we confidently said that today's class is one of the best so far, just as I told the tutor, because we had all our slides from the beginning to the end, and it was all practical throughout. Like last week class, I was expecting continuation today, and it's one of the course I've been, put so much interest on, that Power BI practical, which the tutor promised us that will continue to send assignment. There was no assignment, there was no continuation, and when I look at the slide, I think almost 70 something slide, which we did not even cover half of it, and we were promised that we'll continue, which we did not. So I don't know, there was no practical on it, there was no assignment. We just conclude on that part, which for me, I did not
Sorry
understand.
for cutting you, Mr. Emmanuel. I think what really happened there was the trainer is still going to get back to us with a video, hopefully. So it might take probably a few minutes before he or she could get the video to us, because a recorded session usually take a bit of time in his own convenience. So You will definitely get that to be able to run through it even before the exams proceed. So I just want you to understand that, it's a gradual process and everything will be delivered promptly.
All right,
If that
sir.
answers.
That's all. Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, once again. I can see the game CV here also. Can see a normal. Thank you for today's session. Princess John, Luashegun Michael, Malicent, Michael Adebayo. I can see Grace Kazim. I can see Folawuni Kayode. I can see Enoma. Beatrice. Thank you for coming to this session. Amaka, the regu the I greet you today again, Amaka. Welcome to today's session. Adeshola Ajayi. Thank you for attending today's session. Thank you very much. And our lovely trainer for today, Miss Adewumi Edun. Really enjoyed this session today, and thank you everyone for sticking around. And I'll see you next week Saturday. And please don't forget, if you're not yet in the WhatsApp group, please make sure you do, or you send a message to our admin, or just send us a message via our social media platforms. You can get our admin through there. So basically just join the WhatsApp group because you'll be getting the material and the recorded version of this class.